Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating, honestly kind of unbelievable socioeconomic mystery. It's one that completely upends everything we think we know about success, duty, and the pursuit of a better life. We're going to look at a highly respected leader, a man at the absolute pinnacle of his local career, who finds himself completely crushed under the weight of a nationwide phenomenon. It's a really compelling story of numbers, mass migration, and heartbreaking personal choices.
Our story starts with a bizarre and deeply captivating scene. Picture this. It's a crisp morning at an elite A-list school right in the posh heart of Lekki. The students and staff are all gathered for their usual morning assembly. The principal, who is this towering, dignified, and totally beloved figure known for his trademark morning smile, walks up to the podium. But he doesn't speak. He just drops his head. Then he drops the microphone. And right there, in front of dozens of totally perplexed students and teachers, this absolute pillar of the community breaks down into uncontrollable tears. He's sobbing so hard he literally has to bury his face in his hands. When you read a scene like this, you immediately have to ask yourself, what on earth could cause a man like this to completely shatter in public?
Well, as the shockwaves of his breakdown spread, rumors start swirling among the parents and staff. One parent actually reports hearing the principal rolling on the floor, desperately muttering this dramatic Yoruba cry, "Oluwagbamio, save me, O God." Now, these aren't tears of physical pain. You can tell immediately that this is profound, deep psychological distress. A man who has spent his entire life resolving other people's conflicts is suddenly facing a dilemma so terrifying it absolutely breaks his spirit.
To really understand what broke him, we have to look at our source material for today's explainer. It's a brilliantly crafted contemporary piece of literature titled The Lekki Headmaster by Kabir Alabi Garba. Through the fictional, deeply personal tragedy of Mr. Bepo, our weeping principal, this book captures a massive, very real national crisis that is currently sweeping through Nigeria. It essentially uses one man's breaking point to explain an entire country's desperation.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the invisible villain of our story comes down to just one single word, Japa. It's a slang term derived from the Yoruba language, literally meaning to flee, run away, or escape. But culturally, it's morphed into a defining philosophy. It represents the urgent, almost frantic rush of Nigerians emigrating to the UK, Canada, or the US in search of a better life. For Mr. Bepo, Japa isn't just some passing trend. It's a massive, nationwide pressure cooker that has completely surrounded his life, his staff, and his own family.
So let's talk numbers. Because to really get the immense pressure on Bepo, we have to look at the cold, hard math his colleagues are gossiping about. As the respected principal of an elite school, Bepo earns about 400,000 naira a month. It's a very respectable local salary. But his wife, Sari, is a nurse who has already relocated to the UK. And the rumor mill in the staff room claims she could be earning up to 10,000 British pounds a month. When you do the math on that, his colleagues look at him and think he's absolutely crazy for staying. I mean, why would anyone hesitate when faced with that kind of life-changing generational wealth?
And when you look at the macroeconomic reality, the temptation just becomes totally irresistible. The black market exchange rate mentioned in the text hit a brutal 1,600 naira to a single US dollar. At that rate, if you move abroad and manage to send home just $1,000 a month, you're automatically saving 1.6 million naira. You are literally earning more in a single month than many local lawyers or teachers earn in an entire year. It's basically a modern-day gold rush, and the sheer currency disparity makes staying behind feel, to a lot of people, like a huge financial mistake.
But let's zoom out for a second. When we look at the source data on a macro level, the crisis is just staggering. The government even conceded that up to 1,000 out of the country's 3,000 doctors were migrating annually. Think about that for a second. That is a third of a vital profession vanishing into the diaspora in a single year. Nurses, health workers, teachers, professionals from literally all walks of life are fleeing. It's a massive structural brain drain that's leaving developing nations incredibly vulnerable.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer chaotic frenzy surrounding our headmaster when you look at the desperate extremes people are being pushed to. The urge to Japa pushes everyday people to wild, unthinkable actions. Bepo witnesses a fellow teacher take out a 2 million naira loan from the school cooperative and then just vanish into the wind 2 days later. Even more shocking, one of the school's drivers is actually caught trying to steal the school bus. He confesses to the police that he just wanted to sell it to send his son to college abroad. People are selling houses, land, and cars they don't even fully own just to fund these visa requirements.
But it's not just financial ruin we're talking about here. The very social fabric is tearing apart too. The book narrates the shocking collateral damage of the Japa rush through a character named Mr. Ignatius. He sacrificed absolutely everything, stepping down from his job just to process visas for his family to move to the UK. But during the advanced stages of the visa processing, the embassy required a mandatory DNA test. And the result? It revealed Ignatius was not the biological father of his 15-year-old daughter. The emigration process literally shattered his family overnight, exposing hidden secrets that might have otherwise stayed buried forever.
So with all this absolute chaos around him, why does Bepo hesitate? Why does he cry instead of just packing his bags? Well, it comes down to this really powerful reflection from the text. He found no sense in leaving them behind in a developing nation and joining the crowd working to further advance the United Kingdom. Bepo is a builder at heart. He's spent 2 decades molding the minds of young students. He truly loves his country, and he feels this deep, principled resistance to abandoning his developing home just to go pay taxes and build up a nation that is already fully developed.
But principles are heavy, and eventually the weight just becomes way too much to bear. Bepo's wife pushes their marriage to the absolute brink, eventually conscripting their own children into the campaign to get him to leave. The psychological toll of this battle is exactly what broke him at the morning assembly. Despite his deep passion for teaching and nation-building, the crushing, inescapable societal and family pressures finally force him to surrender. He accepts a teaching job in the UK. He trades his lifelong passion for a foreign paycheck.
The final days of Bepo's life in Nigeria are just profoundly melancholic. He sells off his life. His Pathfinder SUV goes for a mere 1.5 million naira. He packs his bags, filling them with local delicacies like locust beans and egusi, but without a doubt, the heaviest thing he carries is guilt. The source describes his heartbreaking goodbye to a young local boy named Judah, someone Bepo had been mentoring for free in elocution and African history. By leaving, Bepo feels like he is personally abandoning the next generation.
But perhaps the most powerful, chilling moment happens at 30,000 feet. As Bepo's plane takes off for London, he drifts into a haunting, terrifying dream. He dreams he's at the Heritage Slave Museum in Badagry. He sees captives in chains being whipped and herded onto a ship at the point of no return, counted off like cargo. As a white man points to the vessel and commands "Enter," Bepo screams "No!" and suddenly wakes up on the airplane. In his subconscious, he views his modern, voluntary economic migration as a tragic echo of historical forced displacement. He literally feels he's being stolen from his homeland.
So, the crucial point is that the Lekki Headmaster uses a single weeping man to perfectly map out the agonizing intersection of modern economic reality and personal duty. It's the ultimate clash of patriotism versus practicality. How do you choose between developing your homeland and securing a safe, wealthy future for your own children? Bepo's tears at the assembly weren't just for himself. They were for a country bleeding its best and brightest talent because the economic math simply leaves them no other viable choice. Which leaves us with a heavy, deeply personal question to reflect on today. If you were in Mr. Bepo's shoes, staring down an impossible exchange rate, facing the intense demands of your family, and watching literally everyone around you flee, would you hold the line for your country, or would you abandon your life's work for the promise of a better life abroad? It's a profound dilemma that is actively shaping the future of developing nations worldwide. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer. Until next time, keep questioning the world around you.